let's return to the issue of the voice. The level of moral blackmail that is coming from key institutions is quite remarkable. Henry Ergus wrote in The Australian this week, quite eloquently, I thought, that the Chancellor and Vice-Chancellor of the Australian National University wrote to students, staff and alumni recently, formally endorsing the voice to Parliament. And most universities are on the same page. Universities, corporate Australia, the sporting codes, it feels like it's everywhere. And that's concerning, as they've got as little information as the rest of us about what the Albanese government is actually giving us here. What's doubly concerning is that none of these organisations have set up something of this nature for themselves. How many major companies or universities have an Indigenous board with a practical veto over what they can do? Indeed, it seems like sporting codes with nasty histories of player conduct or companies with poor track records of ethical conduct see this as an easy virtue signal for which they don't have to bear the consequences. That kind of moral hazard is one of many good reasons not to support it. It's all very do as we say, but not as we do. The truly sad part is that, at least in relation to corporate Australia, it will have an impact. And that will be to make it so much harder to get projects and new ideas off the ground in this country at a time when it is already too slow, too bureaucratic and too expensive to do so. Joining me now is Gary Johns, former Labor Minister and one of the key people advancing the No campaign. Gary, welcome to the show. It's a real joy to have you with me. These institutions, the universities, the sporting codes, are they persuasive? Will they convince people?
They might in the first instance. I call this, it's bullying. It's a willful ignorance, really. I mean, these people know, as you rightly point out, that this will make it more difficult for them to do business. So why the hell are they doing it? It's just extraordinary. I put it to them, and I'll write to them after the referendum and say, you will not save the life of a single child by changing the Constitution. We have to change behaviour, not constitutions, and changing behaviour is a difficult thing. Ask school teachers. So we have to look after those children who don't have a mother, a father, uncles and aunts who've gone to work and who provide a living template from which they can learn how to get into this open society. That's not going to change with the Constitution changing. All this is a grab for power by upper middle class Aboriginal elite people who think they can have fun in our society. I think it's a shocking thing. I don't know why the universities and the CEOs are on about this, but they are wrong to do what they ask of Australians.
You're quite right to say that what's needed is individual, person by person behaviour and choice change. And that's not done by grand gestures that speak to the history of a people or big sweeping changes to the institutions of democracy. What do you make of the bizarre claim from Michael Chaney of Wesfarmers today, suggesting that Australia will struggle to attract investment internationally because we won't be seen as a fair place if we aren't willing to back a constitutionally entrenched voice to Parliament?
Michael, where have you been, really, for the last 40 years? I mean, grow up. Michael, he lives in Perth, as I understand it, or he's a Perth-based fellow. Go out to Coolgardie, which is near Kalgoorlie. Most of us will know about that. And there's a school there called an Aboriginal Christian school. Now, they take children from central Western Australia. Go out there, Michael, and see the work that takes place to get those children into the wider society. It's a wonderful school, and that's the real deal, Michael, not changing the Constitution or prancing around looking like a good fella. That's the real deal, and that school's been there for decades, and it's doing wonderful work. And I'm going to spend not just this year fighting this awful nonsense about changing the Constitution, but bringing to the attention of Australians that it's the work on the ground by schools, such as the one at Coolgardie, that gives children a chance to get out of the awful circumstances in which they live.
We've only got a couple of seconds left, but how can people get involved in the No campaign?
All right, come to Recognise a Better Way or Fair Australia, two good organisations. sign up and we'll give you things to do.
Wonderful. And if I can encourage you all to do that, that would be time very well spent.